Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the League of Women Voters second candidate forum for the night. I'm Andy Poley. I am the president of the local League of Women Voters, and you just got a few quick reminders about voting and other things that are important to voters this year. Mail-in ballots go out on September 25th, and you could request a mail-in ballot through October 24th. There will be several secure ballot drop boxes throughout the county for you to use. Early voting starts October 19th. There are 5 locations, the same 5 locations throughout the county for early voting, again for the general election. Election day itself is November 3rd. You will vote at your polling place on November 3rd. To learn more about all the candidates, including the ones you see this evening and all the other candidates on your ballots, we advise you to please visit vote411.org. You will see additional questions beyond the questions that you hear this evening on that website, so you can learn even more about the candidates. You can also learn about the 6 amendments that will appear on your ballot there on vote411.org. Tonight, we're going to hear from candidates running for Fort Pierce Commission District Number 2. The format for both of this evening's and all of our other forums is the same. It consists of a 90-second introduction by each candidate, followed by a series of questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. If time allows, those of you that are viewing this on Facebook, you can comment below, and if you have a question for one of the candidates and we have time, we'll ask that question on your behalf. After that, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing. The order of candidates was previously selected by coin toss, and we will alternate back and forth between the 2 candidates. This is not a debate, so candidates will make their statements or answer their questions, and then we will move on to the next candidate or the next question. We don't invoke here, so it's just a statement. You're just getting facts. The candidates will be alerted at 30 seconds and when their time is expiring. Our moderator for the forums, as usual, is Carol Wyatt. Carol is the co-owner and operator of local radio stations WPSL in Port St. Lucie, WSTU in Stewart, and WJNX in Fort Pierce. She is the president of the WPSL Christmas Kids of St. Lucie County, past president of the Rotary Club, and a member of the Port St. Lucie Businesswomen. Carol has many years in broadcasting, including as a reporter in Los Angeles prior to moving to Florida in 1993. We are, of course, honored to have Carol with us again this evening to conduct our candidate forums. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Carol.
Thank you, Andy, and welcome to the second round of League of Women Voters of St. Lucie County candidate forums, this for the general election. And first, we thank all the members of the League for developing the questions for tonight. We thank our candidates for participating, and also everyone who's watching and listening and taking the trouble to inform themselves in what has been a very challenging year and still is for us. So tonight, the race for Fort Pierce City Commission District 2, it is for a term of 4 years. It's representing roughly the southern half of the city. You must live in the district to vote for the District 2 City Commissioner. Our candidates, the incumbent, Jeremiah Johnson, and Michael Perry. So we begin with opening statements. We start with Mr. Johnson.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much to the League for having us here tonight in these, not uncertain times, but uncertain in ways of conducting forums and getting together and just talking about the issues of our city. I'm just excited about these opportunities, and technology is a great thing, so we can get this job done. So myself, Jeremiah Johnson, I'm the current city commissioner for District 2. And I have a wife and 2 kids. My wife is Kelly McBee. She's a school teacher here in St. Lucie County, and I'm so proud of the work that she does every single day. She works hard, working remotely and working on site and trying to teach our children and our upcoming generations. Our 2 kids, Noah, he's at UCF, Go Knights. That's where I graduated college with an environmental engineering degree, and he's looking at majoring in information technology, maybe moving into the military after that. Our daughter, Leah, she's at Lincoln Park Academy, and she's just getting through dual enrollment and working through her senior year in such a unique way. But as a commissioner, I'm just so excited of the work that's been accomplished and the work that has been going on. And I tell you that I scrutinize the budget. I make forward-thinking decisions. I think about the issues. I ponder the issues, and and really reach out to the public and take that information in every single chance that I get, and really be a voice for the public and the residents of the city of Fort Pierce. I'm proud of all the opportunities for economic development and what we've done to enhance the city, and looking at our redevelopment agency and how we've utilized those monies to the most efficient and best use. But most of all is getting in with the city manager, city clerk, city attorney, which those positions report directly to the city commission, and digging into our codes and our ordinances and looking at the opportunities that the city has for growth and development. I look forward to talking about the issues tonight, and thank you very much for having us.
Okay, and now the opening statement from Michael Perry. Mr. Perry? Do we have a muting issue here?
Down there.
There we go. Okay.
Wrong mute button.
Okay, opening statement. We've all done that.
My name is Michael Perry. I go by Mike Perry. And I've been in Fort Pierce for 63 years. I've been a longtime follower of local government, an activist for the citizens and their best interests. I'm retired. I have unencumbered time to devote to this job. I will maintain daily office accessibility. I have no conflicts of interest, beholden to no group or individual. I focus on government efficiency and service to the citizens of Fort Pierce. During my 9 years on the Fort Pierce Utility Board, the power cost adjustment went from an all-time high of $54 a month in December of 2009 to an all-time low of minus $5 per month in 2018. I will chair the Policymakers Liaison Committee for Florida Municipal Power Agency for several years. I also served on the Policymakers Committee for the American Power Association for 2 years. The American Power Association goes to lobbies in Washington twice a year. I did go to Washington twice a year and lobby our representatives, our Senator Nelson and Congressman Mast. And we championed legislation that did not raise power costs to our ratepayers. That was the main goal of lobbying these representatives. I have served on the Board of Adjustments of the City of Fort Pierce.
Okay, we have to say thank you right now for your opening statement. We'll go on to come to the end of your time, but we will go to our first question, and then there'll be time later to talk about some things. So let's start with our first question. Starting with Jeremiah Johnson. The COVID-19 pandemic is still active. We are moving into cold and flu season. So if you are elected, you will likely need to make decisions about the health and the safety of your constituents. How do you propose ensuring that all Fort Pierce citizens are safe and have adequate health care to manage the long-term effects of this health crisis? First question goes to Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh, thank you. And the coronavirus is a very serious issue. You know, the pandemic, and once we started this, it's a very unique time being in office and trying to work your way through the normal operation of a local government city budget, and then dealing with the pandemic on top of that. But some of the things that we have done over the last 3 to 6 months, really, we put into place opportunities to serve our residents that need the assistance to look for testing. We've set up testing sites throughout our city. We've utilized the funding from our partners, whether it's federal, state, and county government, which is called the CARES Act funding. And we've utilized those monies to provide opportunities for those that have maybe lost their income source and they can apply for assistance. They've maybe have lost an opportunity for healthcare. So then, and at the healthcare centers, we're utilizing testing. So we've reached out to the community in different ways. We've also utilized our community development block grants to reinforce and reorganize exactly what those grant monies are used for. And usually they're here to help us with housing and assistance. And now we're utilizing that to help our residents in different ways to get the testing, to get their personal protective equipment, masks, and then also food drives. And it's also about partnering with our nonprofits and talking with them about opportunities within the community and serving with them to give, maybe it's food, maybe it's a drive-through type pantry. We've partnered with Treasure Coast Food Bank and other Boys and Girls Clubs and whatnot to help our citizens and our residents during this time of crisis. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done, and we'll continue to do that as long as we have to deal with this pandemic. Thank you.
Okay, same question to Michael Perry. How do you propose ensuring adequate health care for Fort Pierce citizens to manage the long-term effects of COVID-19? Mr. Perry.
Well, the long-term effects, I have reservations about what they're going to be. I mean, nobody knows what's happening. All we can do is put one foot before the other, and hopefully we get over this thing. We must appeal to the federal government for all the help they can give us, and we must do everything we can do locally to help these people get through it. There's lots of unemployment. There's lots of jobs that have been lost. These are problems that have manifested over the time, and they're not getting any better. So I think that we need to really work on restructuring the system, helping the people that have lost their jobs, and the businesses. We want businesses have 30 seconds. That's it.
You could continue if you would like to. Another 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, as I said, the businesses that have been affected are not opening up. I mean, we need to start thinking about how we can help these people get back on their feet. And employment is a very important part of this fix. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Okay, our second question, we're now rotating who gets the first at each question. So we're coming back to Michael Perry. The second question, as a result of the pandemic, many citizens are now and will continue to face increased financial hardship. This will inevitably impact tax revenue. So how do you propose addressing more need with less money? Mr. Perry.
Well, I think we have to take a long look at how we spend our money. There are some questions about real high salaries. There's some questions about doing things that really don't need to be done. We have a lot of property, I think, that could be sold to generate some revenue. I know that they have sold some property in the past. The city has property that they're not using, and they need to take a long look at that and maybe market it and get money in that regard. As far as people and their problems, they go hand in hand with the city's problems. Everybody has to tighten their belts, but there's still a lot of room, I think, to adjust the budget and help these businesses and these companies get back into business and get on their feet. Thank you.
Okay, same question to Mr. Johnson. How do you propose addressing more need with less money?
So the city of Fort Pierce, and during my time in the last few months, we've really taken a hard look at this exact issue. And what the first step is, and what it has been, is to take a look at the existing budget and how do we decrease the expenditures that have been proposed throughout the rest of this fiscal year. This fiscal year ends at the end of this month. So what we did a number of months back, we started putting away and we trimmed back each department's budget up front, knowing that we had a lot of conditions and a lot of uncertainties in our near future. So we already started that process, and we started the cutback process. In addition to that, we started to scrutinize and get through the budget process for the next fiscal year 21. And that's one of the things that I pride myself in, and I'm very much in tune with the budget. I scrutinize each department. I have a governmental background, and that's actually where I work during the daytime in a local government entity. So I understand what it means to take a hard look at the experience of the budget. We look at the parts and the pieces of the personnel, and then look at the parts of our budget where we are overspending. A number of months ago, actually, I voted against the tax rate that we established last fiscal year, and I voted against it because we had some expenses, such as our commission travel budget. So we were able to reduce those type of opportunities and provide additional resources in these lean times.
Okay, thank you. Next question, we'll come back to Mr. Johnson. How will you work with police and communities to foster trust, reduce crime, ensure safety, and develop a more cooperative relationship between officials and citizens?
That's a good one. And having our own police department and our police force, it's an integral part of our safe community. As far as the police department, we've established the roll calls within the community where the officers are reporting, they're meeting, they're looking at their assignments, they're looking at their road patrols, they're looking at previous data from maybe the night before, the day before, the week before, and they're looking at information and leads, and then looking at the hot spots. And then so bringing in the public into that is by doing those roll calls in the neighborhoods. It's by the officers volunteering and giving their time with residents by volunteering at a First Step Park right there in the District 1 community, actually. In that part, they're meeting the needs of the kids. So bringing the two together is very important, and just having a collaborative conversation. We've talked about in the commission, we haven't done it. I've actually was a proponent of a workshop to talk about police policies and looking at how we operate. And I would love to learn more about what happens within the police department, what happens within the community. So we also created the police advisory community, where we have brought in citizens to come in and tell us as a commission, as a body, exactly what's happening from the perspective of a citizen. So in that group is also partnering with the police department to look at the issues and look at the policies and the procedures of a day-to-day operation.
Okay, same question to Mr. Perry. How will you work with police and communities for a more cooperative relationship? Mr. Perry.
Yes. Well, I think we need to revamp our police department a little bit. I think a conversation should be had to have the sheriff take over the police department. You know, they're the biggest part of our budget. We're always needing money. We might be able to save a lot of money there. But that being said, the current situation is that the public, the biggest part of the public, have no trust in the police department. They have to foster some kind of trust. They have a substation there on Avenue D. I don't think it's manned. You can go by there at any time of day or night, and you know, I don't believe there's anybody there. I think we need more neighborhood patrols. We need to get these policemen to try and foster some kind of relationship with community. they're certainly not doing that now because the community doesn't trust the policemen. I get all kinds of complaints about how bad they are. So there's a lot of room for improvement there, and I think it starts at the top. Thank you.
Okay, next question, go to Mr. Perry. The effects of climate change are projected to significantly impact Florida and its shores. These impacts can hit lower socioeconomic areas harder than others. So how will you ensure environmental justice for the citizens of your district?
Climate change is very, very subjective. This world, this earth has been going through climate changes since it was formed. And it's hard for me to believe everything I hear about climate change because, you know, these people that dig dirt, they tell us that about things that have been changing since, you know, the earth was formed. I don't know that there's anything really that can make a dent in climate change that we can do as a city. That maybe nationally they can put something in place to help it. But you know, they say you got to stop burning coal. China's putting on a coal-fired power plant to the tune of 3 or 4 a year. They're generating all the pollution, more pollution than the rest of the world put together, I believe. So that's a very sticky issue, climate change. Don't know who to believe. Thank you.
Okay. Same question to Mr. Johnson. Environmental justice for citizens of your district in climate change.
So this is my background and my love, and I'm an environmental engineer. And years ago, a teacher and a group of folks in my elementary school right here in Fort Pierce Elementary School made a real impact on me. And they talked about reducing, reusing, recycling, and that's just one of the many, many steps. But climate change is a real deal. It is happening. Now, what does that mean in climate change? It just means that our environment around us is changing. And if that's sea level rise, then that's what's happening. And we can monitor that and we can see that happening. But there is the earth, the environment. And how do we adapt that? What do we do in the city of Fort Pierce? And how do we balance the economic structure? How do we balance our budget in providing stormwater treatment areas? I'm an advocate. I'm probably the biggest proponent. There's always full support for stormwater treatment and improving our stormwater systems and our discharges to the lagoon. But you know, I'm the biggest proponent. I get out there in the Morse Creek cleanups, and I get out there and I invest time with the engineering group and what kind of practices and best practices can we implement in the city of Fort Pierce to help ourselves over the long term. How do we turn over a system that we can be proud of to our younger generations? And that's where you know, my education, my experience is very important, and I know that we can make a difference every single day, but it has to be a focus, and we have to just balance out how we spend the funds, whether it's in programs or if it's in the environment in which we live.
For Mr. Johnson, in your opinion, are there areas of Fort Pierce that need more attention and support than other areas, and why?
Oh, wow. Yeah, so we have a $42 million budget in our little tiny city. And if you look at the average spending per resident, we are well below our neighboring city of Port St. Lucie. I think we're below $800 or $900 per resident of expenditure versus, you know, like a city of Port St. Lucie or the county, which is going to be in the upper maybe $2,500 to $3,000 spent per resident. So areas of Fort Pierce need attention. There's a lot of it, but I just had a conversation in the last week with multiple residents talking about the corridors that enter our city. And we have that in our strategic plan. The commission establishes a strategic plan every spring. So And what do I mean by a corridor? It means coming off our interstate, and the first look that you have at the city of Fort Pierce, coming down Orange Avenue or Midway Road or Okeechobee Road, and you come into our city, what does it look like? What does it feel like? So that is a critical need for that first impression. And why do I say those? Why do I call out those? And I call those out because it doesn't matter what district of the city. Those roads connect District 1 and District 2. So it's a citywide focus, and it just establishes a new look and a new feel for our city. We're doing it, but we're doing it in a slow way. We're also trying to be fiscally responsible for the monies that are spent, and it's an opportunity. Maybe we can even partner with the state of Florida, the Department of Transportation. But those are key elements to our city that just gives that first impression, bringing into our communities of District 1 and District 2. Thank you.
Okay, same question, Mr. Perry. Are there areas of Fort Pierce that need more support and attention than others, and why? Mr. Perry.
Yes. I believe there are some areas that need attention, and in my opinion, I think that it's the interior roads, the neighborhood roads. It's 7th Street, it's 8th Street, 9th Street. If you travel these roads, I mean, they're in terrible shape. I think that we're long overdue having a long-term plan. We need to assess what needs to be done and figure out a long-term plan and do so much a year to get our roads back in shape. Yes, the corridors at end of the city have to look good, that's for sure. But we can't neglect our neighborhood streets like we've been neglecting them. We need to partner with the Utilities Authority and get them to revamp their 100-year-old systems and do the roads at the same time. We did that with Sunrise Boulevard, and the county gave us a heads up and waited a year for the Utilities Authority to put in pipes and water systems, new pipes, before they paved Sunrise Boulevard. It worked out real well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next question to Mr. Perry. Fort Pierce has an above average citizens in poverty level for cities of comparable size. The economic and unemployment impacts of the pandemic are certain to increase this statistic. How do you plan to address the number of citizens living in poverty?
That's a pretty tough question. We need to really and truly help people, help small businesses get back in business and hire people that are willing to work. Poverty is a worldwide problem. It reaches everybody. It reaches all kinds of people. Some people just give up. We have to give them some kind of incentive to help themselves. You know, way back when they had what they called the WPA, Work Progress Association, you know, when the country was in a Great Depression. Maybe some kind of local program like that could help sustain and create some jobs. It's just a problem it's bigger than most people. It's bigger than me, quite frankly. So I think there's got to be some smart people that could figure that out. Thank you.
Okay, same question to Mr. Johnson. How would you address the number of citizens living in poverty expected to increase?
And like my opponent had just stated, this is a challenging issue. And one of the ways that the city is already trying to address that and stay out in front is to partner with our nonprofit agencies and looking at the opportunities. There's a group here in town, United Against Poverty, and their slogan is to give a hand up, not a handout. And I'm so appreciative of the work that they do. And there's so many agencies that do that. But that's just one of many. And as a city, we have to continue to focus in on those opportunities. The other areas is what I spoke to earlier, our grants, our community development block grants, our SHIP program grants, and looking at the monies that come in and looking at the applications and continue to find unique ways and strategic ways of implementing programs and procedures to help our residents that are in the most need. That's what we should be doing, and that's what we do. The other options, surplus properties. The city of Fort Pierce has, in my opinion, we have too many properties on the books that shouldn't be on the books. So we have to declare those surplus and provide opportunities within our other areas. So on a residential perspective, it's a community land trust type application where we can build an affordable home. So if we can get folks in homes, and it's a land lease, and it's a long-term land lease. So those options are being explored, and those are opportunities for those that are in need. The other parts and pieces are training and development and skills, partnering with our local college and our school district to get people trained and get them back to work. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, the next question. In your opinion, what are the most urgent problems facing District 2 at this time?
Without a doubt, the most urgent problems are our streets and our roadways. Thankfully we have the surtax that was implemented by the voters almost 2 years ago now, and so we are putting those monies to work. We are absolutely looking at the repaving and reconstruction of the worst areas. We're looking at sidewalk connectivity. We're also looking at the stormwater improvements, because as we continue to develop and we could grow, even though it's at a slow percentage rate right now, the Treasure Coast and the city of Fort Pierce is being looked at, and so we have to provide those opportunities. So those are the big problems right away. The other aspects of the district, because it's such a unique shaped district, we have the barrier islands, and we also have most properties east of US 1 down to Georgia Avenue, and then everything south of Georgia Avenue on a rough scale. It's just starting to look at our neighborhoods and how they're structured. Also look at the residents and look at the cultures that make up the city of Fort Pierce, and bring those cultures together, because we have a large Hispanic population, African American population, Caucasians, and bringing everyone together in one unison and harmony, and speaking to each other about how we're going to grow with smart growth opportunities. What does our zoning districts look like? Is it the right organized zoning districts, and how we're going to grow from residential into the commercial district so that we have livable and walkable communities?
Okay, same question to Mr. Perry. In your opinion, what are the most urgent problems facing District 2 at this time? And let's see, Mr. Perry.
As I said, I think our neighborhood roadways are a very, very serious issue. People have nice homes, and the roadways in front of these nice homes, in a lot of cases, is deplorable. And I think we have to concentrate real hard on a maybe a 15, 20-year program. We have to identify the worst problems and start with them, and do a little bit each year till we get the problem solved. I think that business-wise, our downtown is doing very well. There's a few vacancies, but not too many. I think we need to alleviate our parking situation downtown in some form or fashion. Thank you.
Okay, and our next question, Mr. Perry. If a corporation with numerous high-paying skilled positions was looking to relocate or expand, what benefits of Fort Pierce would you highlight to convince them to move here?
Well, I think that we have offered tax incentives for any large corporation that would hire a substantial amount of well-paid employees. I think that there's, depending on what kind of facility they need, I think that there's ways to help them get started. I think that we need a streamlined permit process for building construction, any new building constructions. We need to be user-friendly, and some people say we're not. I think we've come a long way from what we used to be. But I think the tax incentive is probably the easiest vehicle to navigate through. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, if you were trying to attract a corporation, what benefits of Fort Pierce would you highlight to convince them to move here?
Actually, we just started in last night's city commission meeting with a great opportunity, and it was posted in the local news today. And it's about providing those opportunities and looking at the zoning and the districting of any parcel, any part of an opportunity to come into the city of Fort Pierce. It's looking at and talking with the proposer about the building permit process, about the building and the planning process, and looking at those opportunities. It's also talking about and promoting our resources, our local resources, such as our school district and the Class A school district that we have, the IRSC opportunities and the training and the skill development programs, because there might be a manufacturer's group that's looking to come in, and they can see that they have, and that we have in the city of Fort Pierce, a workforce that is ready to go to work, and so that they can promote their product and provide opportunity for themselves as entrepreneurs and business owners and commercial type development. And through that process, we also want to look at and promote our Economic Development Council and look at and sharing the resources that they have, bringing in other ideas from that group. We are a member of that council, and we support them greatly. They are our partners. And business owners and developers, or whatever it might be that's providing opportunity in our community, a small business even, that is a resource, and they love to see that, they love to hear that, and I promote those opportunities anytime I can when an application is coming forward, or potential application.
Okay, and I believe we have some questions coming from our live audience. We'll come back to you, Mr. Johnson. In your opinion, how important is a Florida home rule in city government and a city council's ability to execute ordinances, codes, and other official actions when the state and county laws and codes do not adequately address a city's specific needs? Home rule.
So, home rule, yeah, home rule, such an important topic and such an important matter in my heart. There's not, that I'm aware of, two communities within the state of Florida that are the same. So why would we have a rule of law that says, well, this is our umbrella and we all have to live under it? We are very unique. We're a coastal community. We have a lot of opportunity for Western growth in our community rather than Eastern growth, obviously, because we have the ocean on our side. But there are other communities that they started and developed in the West, and maybe they're growing east. So the formula that I've heard proposed before from our state legislators and some of the proponents, it just doesn't work. It's not a good model. I don't agree with it. I'm a champion of home rule in whatever way I can be. I've met with the representatives in Tallahassee before, made those trips, made those conversations happen, met with them here locally and in Tallahassee, and just promoted exactly how that would impact the city of Fort Pierce. But it is critical that we continue that drive and that fight to establish our own rules and procedures, because we are unique. We're a historical city, and we have to adapt over time, and we have adapted over time to our changing environment. And now we're, like I said before, folks know about the city of Fort Pierce now, and they're coming here. And so it's critical that we are able to establish our own procedures and policies within our own local government.
Okay, same question to Mr. Perry. How important is Florida home rule?
I'm in favor, very much in favor of home rule. I don't see how that anybody could think that home rule was a good idea. The diversity of all the cities are different. The makeup of the cities are different. The geography of the cities are different. And home rule just is something that can't work for the benefit of the residents of any city. So I'm totally against it. And we need to fight it tooth and nail to keep from having home rule. That's all I've got to say about that.
Okay, and if we have any other questions, I believe, okay, we have come to the point of our closing statement. So we will come back to Mr. Perry, your closing statement.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having this forum. It's very interesting. I'm not as polished at it as I should be. I understand that. But I'm a hard worker. I will work for all the citizens of the city, and I'll have their best interests at heart. I work tirelessly. I answer my phone 24 hours a day. I will have a presence in City Hall almost every day. I'm very easily accessible. I'm a good listener, and I think I can do a better job making it a full-time job than any other commissioner has done. Thank you.
Okay, closing statement, Mr. Johnson.
And thank you. And thank you to the league for setting this up and just having this opportunity to share our views and our perspectives. And, you know, as a first-time commissioner coming in the close of my first term, I just have brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm. I brought a difference of thought and opinion and a new perspective to the commission. And I think that's what it's about. And that's why we have the representatives that we do. And it's about listening to the people and listening to the residents. And I do that on a day in and day out basis. And I talk to folks, and I'm out there, you know, mingling with folks and discussing with them the issues. I work hard. I get up early every day and I go to bed late, and I'm excited to do it. And that's the part that I bring to the commission. It's those perspectives and those, I ask a lot of questions, and what does it mean to be in the city, and what does this application mean? And just bring some thought and some thought-provoking opportunities during any process. And the people, it's about being a voice of the people, and that's who I am. And I love doing the job. We've had a couple interviews and some other forums that we've talked at. I've been endorsed by the chamber. I'm a member of the Treasure Coast Builders Association, and you know, the great group of folks there. TC Palm has done some interviews that have been endorsed by TC Palm. And I love this job. I didn't think I'd ever be here, you know, but I've thought about it and I've thought about it, and I finally decided to jump in. And now, you know, I'm not going to say I can't get enough, because Lord knows it gets tiring, but I love doing the job, and I love the opportunity. I want to continue to serve here in the city of Fort Pierce. I will continue to serve in every opportunity. I'm a lifelong resident. My family, born and raised here, just like me, and we're in it, and we just love what the city of Fort Pierce has to offer. So again, Jeremiah Johnson, Fort Pierce City Commissioner, running for re-election, and I hope to have your support. Thank you.
So thank you both for joining us. I mean, certainly Michael Perry and Jeremiah Johnson, both the candidates for the District 2 Fort Pierce City Commission. Andy.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you to our candidates for being with us this evening and answering our questions. I don't know how many opportunities you've had to speak to the public, but I'm sure you found that the league is very well informed on the issues that impact the citizens. So if you've had very few chances, they're very well educated now. So we really appreciate you coming here and meeting with us and answering these questions and presenting yourselves to the public. I do want to remind the public at large, you have 6 amendments on your ballot. the League of Women Voters is doing free virtual amendment education. All you have to do is follow us on Facebook. There's a couple of posts about it, or you can visit our website and register for any one of those events. It will be conducted via Zoom. They're at different hours on different days, but you'll be well informed in a nonpartisan, fact-based way about the 6 amendments that will appear on your ballot, so you know before you go. We have more candidate forums to come. And I know we have mostly Fort Pierce residents here viewing us this evening, but we have the Mayor of Fort Pierce candidate forum is tomorrow night at 8:30. We also have the Clerk of Circuit Court. Oh, I'm sorry. I just lied to you just a little bit. We have the Property Appraiser of the county at 7 o'clock tomorrow, and County Commissioner District 3 at 8:30 tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have the Clerk of Circuit Court at 7 and County Commissioner District 3 at 8:30. So we hope that you'll tune in. We're going to be doing this for a while. We've got about 19 races that we're going to get through, and we've only done 2. This is the place to learn, so we hope you'll join us in the days to come. Thank you again to the candidates. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you, of course, to Carol, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.